Hey everyone, Frank Kern here, and this is a very, very important training that I want to give you. Recently, someone asked me the question of if my children were to take over my business and to start selling things online, what would I want them to know? And it was kind of a morbid question because it was kind of insinuating that I would not be able to talk to them after the fact. So it was, listen, if you could pass on anything to your kids about how to really have long-term and significant success online, selling things, what would it be? And it was a pretty heavy question for me to answer, and it wasn't one that I was able to answer immediately. I think I gave some stupid answer, but then I went home and I really thought about it, and the result is what I'm going to share with you today. And I've titled this training, How to Win an Online Direct Response, which I know isn't a fancy or flashy title, but at the end of the day, how to win an online direct response doesn't actually have anything to do with being fancy or flashy. Instead, there are 6 magic steps to lasting success online. I'm going to walk you through the 6 individually, and then we'll go through them in detail. So step number 1 is embrace the gospel according to Kern. Oh, can we get more narcissistic than that? But as you're going to see here in a minute, this is a very, very important step. Step number 2, interestingly enough, is to immediately stop thinking like a marketer. I'll explain what that means in a minute, but it might be the single most important step. Step number 3 is to understand reality. Step number 4 is to know your real numbers. Step number 5 is to decide, commit, and obsess. And the final step is to expand your thinking and your skills. Now, before we go further, especially with those last 2 steps, it seems like we could be borderline motivational speaking here. That is not what this presentation and class is about at all. This is genuinely about the ingredients that you have to succeed specifically in the art and science of selling things online. So step number 1, embrace the gospel according to Kern. Man, I know that sounds narcissistic. Here it is though. I really believe that this is the core fundamental key to all success. And that is the most predictable and efficient way to generate wealth is to turn advertising into profit consistently. And yeah, sure, I know there's other stuff you could do. You could invest in real estate. You can invest in the stock markets. You could have affiliates mail your stuff. That's cash flow. This, well, let me show you, okay? So here we go. Here's why this is true. Reason number 1 is advertising is simply never going to go away. So imagine the nuclear apocalypse has occurred. Yay, how very uplifting a presentation this has started out to be, right? But imagine, okay, so the nuclear apocalypse has occurred. We now have the population of mankind has been reduced to 1,000 people, and we're just starting to get back on our feet. Man, you know that there's going to be somebody wanting to put ads for their bison burgers or whatever in front of the other 999 people. You just know what's going to happen. We will never stop having the ability to advertise. It's just not going to go away. In fact, it's only going to get better. We're only going to have more and more opportunities. So that's reason number 1 why you should embrace this as gospel truth, that it is the most effective way to generate wealth, is to turn advertising into profit. Reason number 2 is this is a transferable skill. So if you have the ability to turn advertising into profit, you're kind of set for life. Here's why. If a product stops selling, the same principles can be applied to a new offer that can be scaled quickly in an entirely different area. Let me give you an example in reason number 3. Let's say that you've got an internet business and it's doing great and everything's cool, and then you want to take those same advertising skills and use those advertising skills to increase the value of an existing asset. In this example, if you own an apartment complex, you can raise the rents and eliminate vacancy by deploying effective advertising. You can literally change the value of that asset through advertising. Nothing else is going to be able to do it, but you can potentially in a very short period of time just through advertising. Reason number 4 is advertising, when done properly, funds its own growth without debt. What that means is you can put $1 into advertising today and get $1 back out today, and then every other dollar you make is pure profit. In some cases, you can put $1 in today and get $1.50 back out today. So you can fund your own growth without debt when done properly. Reason number 5 is quite simply the math, okay? The math is what I want to illustrate for you in a minute. But first, let me give you point number 2. Step number 2 to ultimately winning in online direct response is to stop thinking like an internet marketer and start thinking like a billionaire. Now, look, I know that's a weird thing to say, okay, because a lot of people who are watching this are identifying as internet marketers. But here's the thing, man. Internet marketers are immensely popular nowhere. Like, nobody likes internet marketers except us. We are the only people who like ourselves. Everyone else thinks we're all terrible people. And you know what? We kind of deserve it. We have brought it on ourselves. All right? Imagine this. Internet marketer typically, if you really think about what that term means, it typically means someone who uses the internet to make short-term money with no long-term plan for sustainability. I know that's probably not you, but that's what that term has come to mean. Basically, someone who is into making a quick buck. Someone who is trying to chase the get-rich scheme, or even worse, someone who is selling the get-rich scheme. Well, it's no wonder that nobody likes internet marketers. Think about this. Internet marketers have created an industry out of trying to get something for nothing through free traffic loopholes, affiliate marketing circle jerks, what a lovely metaphor that is, and short-sighted hype. So if you think about all the stuff you see promoted and talked about in the quote-unquote internet marketing community, 99% of it is about some sort of an easy button. Some free traffic and do nothing, get paid, automatic riches, and all of that kind of stuff. Here's the thing. Internet marketers have celebrated being lazy. We have literally celebrated doing as little as possible and contributing as little value as we possibly can to success. We have acted as if that is a virtue. Yet we wonder why people don't like internet marketers, and we wonder why, as a community, we haven't grown as much as we think we should have grown. And finally, internet marketers typically think in terms of promotions and launches. All right, so granted, I have probably beaten up the stereotypical internet marketer a little more than necessary in this illustration, but I wanted to drive the point home. The internet marketing mindset is one that will ultimately lose. Instead, you need to think like a billionaire. Here's the thing. Billionaires think about multiplying money through leveraging assets. They don't think about promotions. They don't think about a shortcut. They don't think about an easy button. They think about multiplying money, through leveraging assets. Interesting. Let me go a little deeper in this for you. So check out these two fellas, all right? You're going to like this, by the way. So, fellow over there, you'll notice Warren Buffett. Now, I went to this website called wisebread.com to look at who the most successful investors were and who the biggest billionaire folks were. And according to that website, Warren Buffett grows his stock and his revenue and stuff by about 20% annually. Here's another one. This guy's name is Carl Icahn. He grows his stuff by around 31% annually. That means he sticks $1 in, and at the end of the year, he's getting $1.31 back. Now, what is he doing? He's multiplying money. Same as Warren Buffett, right? They are multiplying money. How? They are leveraging assets. In this case, those assets are publicly traded companies. That's how they're multiplying money. In terms of our business, I want you to think like them, okay? Let me show you something. By the way, these are the two, according to the internet, which everything on the internet must be true, these are the two most successful investors in the world. This is the cream of the crop in the world of investing, these two fellows. Now let me show you something right here, okay? So have a look at this. So what you're seeing right here on the screen is a screenshot from my Facebook ads account. All right, and it's showing just a random month, March 1st through March 31st of 2016. You can see where I spent $28,582. So that's not a particularly large fortune, but let's have a look at this. What you're seeing right here is a screenshot from within Infusionsoft. Now, you'll notice what I'm doing in Infusionsoft is I'm tracking all of these campaigns by what's called a lead source. So in Facebook, I was advertising multiple campaigns. I had my Info Business Blueprint automated launch from Facebook. I had my Info Business Blueprint manual launch. This is when I did one manually as well in that same month at the beginning of the month on Facebook. I had another automated webinar called Ultimate Webinar Blueprint, and that's what the UWB stands for. And I had 2 campaigns for those. So if you look at that revenue, it's $80,000, $80,164. So check this out. The revenue was $80,164. The spend was $28,582, and I think 90 cents. It's a little hard for me to read there. The net after advertising was $51,581.80. I put $28,000 in. I got $80,000 back. My net was $51,581.80. That is a 180.46% return on investment in 30 days. And by the way, that math was hard to figure out, so I used a little internet site called geteasysolution.com to do that math. 180% return. And that's in 30 days, by the way. So if you look at Warren Buffett and Carl Icahn, they would put $1 in and they would get $1.20 or $1.31 out, respectively, and that would take a year. I just got this return on investment in 30 days, which is awesome. Now, before we go into this, I want you to understand, I'm in no way saying, hey, I'm better at money management than Warren Buffett or Carl Icahn or anything like that. That's dumb, right? They're doing it with billions of dollars. I'm doing it with thousands. The point being, this is pretty freaking cool. As a matter of fact, I did the math again. If we were able to consistently get that same return every month, the return, I can't believe this, the annual return would be 2,232% per year. And here's what I want to tell you. This is attainable. It is attainable. But notice, I'm not telling you it's easy. It is not easy. It's difficult, but it's attainable. All right, now let me ask you a question. See this house on the screen? Would you buy this little house for $4.06? Okay, maybe yes, maybe no. Now imagine I added something to the question. Would you buy this house for $4.06 if you could rent it out for $11.40 this month? Okay? Probably, yeah. You'd be like, yeah, dude, of course I'd buy the house for $4.06 because I'm going to get more than that back this month. Well, think about this. The house is an asset, okay? You bought it for $4.06. You rented it for a month for $11.40. Your profit, therefore, is $7.34. The cool thing is, now you own the house free and clear, okay? So even if you rent it next month for just $1, you're still making a profit. In fact, that entire dollar is profit. So you might be wondering, well, why in the world am I up here talking about a $4 house? Well, here's why. The campaign I just showed you, I invested $28,582.90 into that campaign. It generated 7,030 opt-ins to my list. Guess what? That opt-in cost me $4.06 each, just like that little metaphorically given rental property. And here's what's interesting. Each opt-in for that 1 month period produced $11.40 in revenue. It's the exact same principle as this rental property illustration that I'm giving you. And the upside is every single dollar that comes from those emails in the future is going to be profit, and there's no property taxes, and I control the revenue through marketing. Meaning, if I want to make even more from that list that I generated, I can market to them even more aggressively. So it's an incredible thing to actually understand what can really be done through advertising. When you stop thinking about promotions and you start thinking about assets and the multiplication of money, your business can really, really grow and take an incredible hockey stick style upward growth curve. Now, here's the downside of this, by the way. It's not all roses. The downside is that list, I can't really sell it. I mean, maybe I could, but I think I would be violating my terms of conditions and my privacy policy, so I really wouldn't want to. And that list has a shelf life. Okay? They're probably not always going to be buying stuff. Like 10 years from now, those 7,000 people are going to be significantly less responsive than they are now. That's just a fact of life. Okay? But still, it's really freaking good. All right, especially if I can continue to do this over and over and over again. Now, think about this, all right? What we're really doing in this example is I'm creating and I'm leveraging cash-producing assets to create and leverage even more cash-producing assets. Here they are. So, cash-producing asset number one is the product and the marketing system. This is the thing I'm selling, aka the product, and the marketing system is the ads, the emails, and the automated system that converts the traffic into initial revenue. That's my campaign within Infusionsoft, all that kind of stuff. All that put together is an asset. It is a business asset that produces revenue. Cash-producing asset number two is the list that I generated. So I'm using cash-producing asset number one to create a second cash-producing asset, and that's the list. Each email address is just like that little rental property that I just got paid to acquire. I didn't even really buy the rental property. I got paid to acquire the rental property. I know this is kind of esoteric in the use of the metaphor, but think about it. It's really no different. Each little email address is just like a little rental property that I'm buying and getting monthly rent on. Only difference is I can't sell it, and eventually it'll stop renting. But hey, who cares? I only spent $4.06 to get it, right? Now, cash-producing asset number three is the automated systems and campaigns that continue to deliver value to the new leads, to strengthen my brand, and produce additional revenue by selling more products or selling the original product to non-buyers. So that third asset is essentially the follow-up system that I'm deploying to all of the new list that was acquired. So I use cash-producing asset number one to create cash-producing asset number two, which is the list, and then I use cash-producing asset number three to get even more revenue, which is awesome, right? So this is a significantly different way of thinking about selling things online than your typical internet marketing mindset, which I really, really want you to grasp. So my job today, and throughout our relationship together, is to help you create as many of these cash-producing assets as humanly possible in your business, and to do that in a way that's systematic and formulaic and process-driven so it won't be overwhelming, right? Now, here's the thing. I can do that, but there's a huge contingency. I cannot help you do that until I get you to understand reality. And that's step number three, to accept reality. Here it is. Thing number one, this is not easy, all right? So I know it would be really, really simple, like if I wanted to use this entire metaphor of the rental house and everything to tell a story to get you to buy something and tell you how easy it is, I could certainly make that sale. It's a good lead into a pitch, but the fact of the matter is, this isn't easy. It's a pain in the ass. It's always going to be a pain in the ass. Even if you have a system that's creating revenue passively, eventually something's going to break. You're going to have to fix it. You're going to say, damn it. As a matter of fact, I found often that our revenue is in direct proportion to the amount of times we say, damn it, in getting the revenue. So it's not easy, okay? This almost never works as planned at first, okay? So when you do this stuff, even if you're a seasoned veteran like me, something's always going to go wrong, especially at first, right? You got this grand scheme, you deploy it. Usually you got to fix something, you got to tinker with it and tweak it. It's normal, right? Why am I telling you this? Because of my job to get you to accept reality. If you are caught up in the internet marketing hype, then you're going to quit at the first sign of trouble. I want you to know there's going to be trouble, but it ain't going to be that bad, and you're going to be able to overcome it, okay? Thing number three, this takes risk, all right? There's so much stuff in quote-unquote internet marketing that's finally a risk-free way to get guaranteed revenue with absolutely no work that we are somehow blinded to the fact that all business entails risk, especially when we're advertising. You could run an ad and no one might buy. It happens all the time. Happens to me all the time. But you know what protects you is you don't spend a lot of money. So it takes risk, but you can just risk a little bit. You don't want to bet the farm ever. I usually start out spending like $20 or $30 a day on a campaign and watch it. After a couple days, if it doesn't work, I'm only out a little bit of money and I haven't risked too much. But nonetheless, it still takes risk. So in this world of everyone telling you how great it's going to be if you just get a bunch of affiliates to promote your stuff for free, forget all of that. Embrace the risk, manage it, and reap the rewards that I'm showing you. What do you think Warren Buffett and Carl Icahn sit around behind their desk as some of the richest people in the world and say, well, there's only a risk-free way. I'm not going to do this because it involves risk. No, they take calculated, measured risks every day. This is the same. When you're turning ads into profit, it takes risk. Our goal is to mitigate and manage that risk so it's as small as possible, and anytime something's losing, kill it and fix it, right? Now, finally, you always got to be messing with it, okay? You've always got to be tweaking it. I know it's a dream to sell you this, hey, you build this business and you can just live at the beach and do nothing. Well, you can for a little while, but eventually something's going to break. You're going to need to change some ad copies. Something's going to happen. You're always going to be tweaking stuff. As long as you're selling things online, you're always going to be tweaking things. And that's okay, because it's kind of fun to tweak things, right? I want you to think about this, okay? So if we accept the fact that this is not easy, and you're kind of wondering, why in the world is he telling me how hard and horrible this is going to be? Well, the answer lies within these folks right here. What you see on the screen is a screenshot from a group of folks in the United States Army. These are Rangers. This is a company called Dog Company. And this is a shot of these folks storming the beach on D-Day. This is one of the primary companies in the United States military that helped defeat Germany in World War II, specifically as a result of D-Day and then all the other stuff they did after D-Day. They went all through France and Europe and endured monumental horrors. So this is them at the beginning of their monumentally horrific journey. Yours isn't going to be that bad, by the way. But I want you to imagine something, okay? Imagine that these folks, instead of going through normal basic training, they were recruited into the United States military by someone at the recruiting office saying, U.S. Army Rangers, anyone can do it, right? What do you think would have happened when they were getting shot at here? They'd all be dead. We would probably have had a completely different outcome in United States history. What if they were like, okay, today I'm going to get you to join the Army Rangers because you're going to learn a quick and easy way to win in combat. Quick and easy way to win in combat? Of course not. Oh, what about this one? This is my favorite. This is my response to the ads you see all the time with no list, no product, no problem. No training? No ammo? No problem. What do you think would happen if those folks would have heard that? Okay? They'd be dead. That would have never happened. What do you think would happen if they didn't understand that the mission was going to be dangerous, if they didn't understand that the mission was going to be difficult, and they weren't prepared for it? That's why I'm telling you this. Whole reason I'm telling you this is just to have you mentally prepared for the inevitable problem that's really not that bad. But if you're not prepared for it, it'll freak you out. So these folks right here, Dog Company, they missed the landing zone by miles. There was all kinds of fog that day on D-Day. So they're flying in these planes. People are getting blown up everywhere. They don't know where they are. They jump out of the plane. They find themselves miles away from their landing zone, separated from everybody else, miles into enemy territory. So here they are, invading Nazi territory. Pretty tough folks, the Germans were. These guys are stuck, cut off from supplies, behind enemy territory. What do you think happened? Do you think they were like, oh man, dang, Sarge, we missed the drop zone by miles and we're surrounded by the SS. Let's just quit and go home. What do you think our country would be like if those gentlemen would have said that? Well, I'm pretty sure it would have been a totally different country. So here's what I'm trying to tell you. You got two choices. This is funny. You got two choices. When I was doing my research for making these slides, I Googled Dog Company, and I found this picture of the real Dog Company, and then I found this picture that you see right here, and this is a band called Dog Company. And my question to you is, as you go into this journey that you might already be on, you might be a seasoned veteran, but as you go into this business and you really commit yourself to it, which dog company are you going to be a member of? Because the choice is yours right now. And I'm telling you, if you're going to join this one, you're dead. Okay, your business isn't going to work. So people said, what would you tell your children if they were to take over your business? And this was like the last thing you could really tell them before I retired forever. I'm sailing around the world or something. I'd say, all right, girls, and Sasha, I have one son as well. I'd say, all right, you guys, here's the deal. You're going to be this or this. This is going to win. This is not going to win. This team accepts risk, mitigates the risk, and doesn't quit when things get hard. So you got to understand reality. Understand you're going to have challenges. Understand this takes risk. Understand this is not easy. And finally, understand it's worth it, right? Was it worth it for these gentlemen right here to scale that wall? Yeah, it was worth it. Their wife and children were not murdered by the enemy as they invaded our country. Of course it was worth it. So you got to get in touch with what it's worth it to you. Now, here's the thing, okay? I've built this up to be really, really hard and horrible. Fact is, now that we have that established clearly, the boogeyman ain't so bad, okay? No one's trying to kill us. So let me show you what can go wrong in your business, and I'll just kind of make it where it's not so scary, because I know I might have freaked you out a little bit in this presentation. You're thinking, good Lord, Frank is usually so positive. Well, we're going to get positive in a minute, but I just want to prepare you. I want you to be tough so you can make it through all of this stuff we're going to do together. So here's the thing. The boogeyman ain't so bad, all right? Not at all. You're going to be fine. There's really a few little components to our business. We've got traffic. We've got opt-ins. So you're sending traffic usually to an opt-in page, right? Then you have engagement. That means, are they reading your emails? Are they clicking on your emails and stuff? Then you've got conversion. Are they buying your stuff, right? These are really the only 4 areas where something can go wrong. So unlike Dog Company, we're not going to step on a landmine and get killed. No, worst that's going to happen to us is, hey, we might not be getting any traffic. Well, guess what? If we're running ads and we're not getting any traffic, we're not spending a lot of money anyway. So it's not that bad. You know how to fix it? Change the copy. Pretty simple. We're typing. Not too bad. Typing and talking, a lot easier than scaling a cliff. Opt-in. They're either opting in or they're not. Okay, well, that's pretty easy to fix. What do? We change the copy. What does that mean? We're typing. Not so bad, right? Pretty simple. Engagement. Are they reading our emails or not? If they're not, we'll know it immediately. We know how to fix it. In fact, there's a whole framework for emails that I'll show you while we work together. And finally, conversion. They're going to your page, but they're not buying. What does this mean? We change the copy. We're typing, or we're talking on a video. It's simple. So the cure for any of the stuff which can, and one of these will definitely go wrong, is readily doable and it's easy to implement. So I don't want to freak you out too bad. I just want you to know, going into all of this, one of these 4 things are going to go wrong. Half of getting really rich on the internet is knowing which one it is and knowing how to fix it. That's what we're going to do together. Now, step number 5 is you got to know your real numbers. So let's say that you want to make $1 million a month, right? Well, if you want to actually get there, you've got to know the real numbers that it takes to get there. So for example, $1 million a month is $12 million per year. That's $32,876.71 per day. Let me ask you point blank right now. Do you know how much you need to earn per day in order to hit your income goals? Do you have income goals? If not, you need to get them. Okay, I'll help you get them while we work together, but you've got to have it and you have to know the real numbers. Here we go. At a current rate of return, if my ads continue to get the return rate that I just showed you in the earlier example from that campaign, that means I'm going to need to spend $18,218.28 per day on ads. Well, that's okay because I'm putting $1 in. I'm getting a lot more than $1 out. By the way, I'm not going to advise you to start spending that kind of money right out of the gate on ads. That's crazy. I mean, we've got risk, but we don't want to invite catastrophic risk into our lives, all right? So please don't worry about it. After merchant fees, though, right, and maybe a 10% refund rate, I'm just sort of giving a round number there, that means our gross sales total is going to be $28,602.73. Subtract my ad costs, the net profit before overhead is $10,384.45 per day. That is $3,790,324.20 per year. Then if we subtract miscellaneous expenses like staff and stuff like that, my annual expense in that regard is going to be around $465,000 a year. So net profit in this scenario would be $3,325,324.20. Now, I probably said this already, but in case I forgot, these are terrible numbers. I'm not factoring in sales that are made to new subscribers after month 1. I'm literally just basing all of these numbers on what would happen if we scaled out the ad campaigns I just gave you an example. But why am I going through all of these numbers with you? Why am I saying, look, if you want to do $12 million a year, it's really only going to be $3.3 million after all is said and done? The reason I'm doing it is because nobody else does. All right? They're like, oh, hey, if you sell $1 million worth of stuff, now you got $1 million. Well, you really don't. There's overhead, and there's costs, and there's refunds, and there's merchant fees, and there's advertising costs, and you're like the whole thing. It's business, right? So in order to get where you're going, you have to accurately understand the lay of the land. In our case, in business, the lay of the land is always math. It's always going to be our numbers. And like I said, these are bad numbers, by the way. This would actually be a lot better. I'm not factoring in stuff I'm going to sell my new subscribers in month 2, month 3, etc. Okay, so step number 5 here is to decide, commit, and obsess. All right, so imagine this. Now, the decision and commitment is critical. So let's go back to Dog Company. Imagine that Dog Company goes over there, they're storming D-Day, they're on the beach, they look up, machine guns blasting everything. It's horrible. Like, you've seen the movies, right? It was like that. It was terrible. Okay, so that's all going on. And then they're like, those Germans seem pretty tough. Let's try really hard to win. I don't think they said that. Do you? That's not commitment. Oh, let's just try really hard. No, that's not commitment at all. There's no clear decision to win. Instead, they said, we're going in there. I'm going to do whatever it takes to defeat this enemy, to protect my country and ultimately my family, because they knew if we lost the war, all hope was lost, right? They were committed. They had made the decision and they were committed. Imagine right now, as we have all of this bad news going on with ISIS, what do you think is going on with the American Special Forces? Do you think they're saying, they're about to deploy and they're saying to their wives, you think they're saying, honey, we're going to go over there and we're just going to see if we can't get ISIS to just not come over here and rape and torture you and the kids. I would rather they didn't. So we're going to go over there and we're just going to ask them not to. Of course not, right? They're committed. They're going to go over there and they're going to kill every single one of them until the threat is gone. It is commitment. Imagine saying, I've decided to succeed and I'm committed to it, right? Imagine saying that. Well, it's easy to say that, but it is meaningless without a reason to push you forward. Okay, so as you go on this journey and as you meet the inevitable challenges that you're going to meet, you have to understand the real reason you're doing things. I know I'm going dangerously close to motivation here, but it's key. You have to understand what's really driving you to success. Dog Company had a really strong reason why. They didn't want the man beside them to get killed. Right? If you ask any combat veteran, I happen to know a few of them, they say a big primary reason why they fight so hard is for the man beside them. It is their job to make sure the man or a woman beside them survives that battle. And plus, they knew that if we didn't win the war, hey, those Nazis weren't really known for being particularly nice folks. So they didn't want their wives and children enslaved and raped by Nazis, right? Hate to drudge up the past there, by the way, but them's the facts, okay? So here's the thing. You got to figure out your why, and you got to make the conscious decision right now, and you have to commit right now. If you're not getting the results you want online in your business or really in anything, it is because, number one, you don't know how, right? And if you got that problem, we're going to fix it. Number two, you don't accurately know what's really going on. You haven't done the math. You don't know the map. Or number three, you're not really committed. You give up in times of trouble, or you only put forth a little bit of effort. Look, what I want to help you do is build a significant business. I don't want to help you make a couple $100 extra a month or something like that. I want to help you change the financial future of your family. I don't want you to impress your neighbors. I want you to impress your great-great-grandchildren. That's what I want to help you do. In order to do that, we've got to play for real, okay? We can't be, as they say in the South, half-stepping, all right? And the final thing is obsess. You absolutely must be obsessed with this stuff. Look, there's no such thing as set it and forget it when it comes to massive success. I've known a lot of people who've made a tremendous amount of money. I know people who are infinitely wealthier than me. And everybody that shares these traits that is very, very successful is totally, passionately, almost psychotically obsessed with their mission. They wake up in the morning, they're working. They go to bed at night and they're thinking about working. And it never feels like work. It's fun. It's a passion. It's an obsession. And they really, really like it. So if you're buying into the set it and forget it dream, you might be able to have some of that on a very small scale. But if you really want to achieve success, you've got to obsess over it. And if you're obsessing over it and you're enjoying the process, guess what? It's not work, right? You're actually enjoying your life. You're obsessing over something you really, really enjoy doing. I think about work every single day. I don't have to. I get up, first thing I do, I wake up about 5:30 every morning. I go into an office, I look at my task of things I want to accomplish, I look at what I did yesterday, look at what I want to do today. I spend about an hour obsessively planning, thinking, and plotting. And then the rest of the day, I'm working, and I love it. Never feels like work. I hope you have the same quality of life that I get to enjoy, which, by the way, isn't sitting around drinking martinis or whatever. I guess you don't drink martinis by the pool, umbrella drinks by the pool. It's working, and it's fun to work, okay? So here's the thing. If I were talking to my children right now and they were to say, you know, what's it going to take for me to be successful online and have a business and carry on this business, I'd say, listen, you're going to work on this every single day for the rest of your life, but you're going to love it. It's going to be fun. So you're about to have a lifelong journey that is really, really rewarding and pleasant. Okay, look at this. Now, I know I've told you how hard it's going to be and how hard you have to work and everything. I hope I really made the point that it's fun work, especially when we realize that the bad stuff's not that bad. Like, a big part of my job is helping you isolate problems and fixing them really quickly so they're not a bad problem. It's not a big deal, okay? But I probably, to some people who are watching this, they might be going like, good Lord, this sounds terrible. Yeah, well, It's hard. It's easier than watching Seinfeld or something. But have a look at this. This is a 50-pound bag of shingles, all right? This is a sledgehammer, okay? So when I was a kid, when I was your age, when I was a kid in my 20s, one of my first jobs was a roofer. And I lived in Macon, Georgia, where it is ever so slightly hot. In the summertime with the humidity index, it's over 100 degrees. It's brutal, actually. It's not ever so slightly. It's terrible. It's a nightmare. Like you walk outside and you're sweating. So my job when working on black asphalt roofs was to carry these 50-pound bags of shingles up a very steep ladder and not fall off and hurt myself, and then apply these tiles, which were hot, all over the hot roof and not fall off the roof. This is a sledgehammer. The other job I had when I was younger was, I don't know why I had this job, my job was to accompany a bunch of ex-convicts, really delightful gentlemen, and we all had sledgehammers, and we would smash giant pieces of military surplus airplane motors into bits, and then we would pull the copper and the tin and the aluminum and the steel parts out, and we would separate all that metal. So it was me and all of these very nice people who I really miss dearly. And we would swing these sledgehammers all day and try not to get ourselves killed or accidentally hit each other or get cut on these jagged pieces of metal. Those were terrible jobs. That was very, very hard work. At the end of the day, all we're doing is we're really typing and talking. You know, I mean, when we go to fix an ad that's not working, our job is to type. It ain't that hard. We're going to be typing indoors in the AC or out by the pool or wherever you want to be. It's not going to be that big of a deal, right? So I promise you, when things go wrong, if you catch them early, it's never going to be a big deal. It's not going to be that bad. The final step, by the way, is to expand your thinking and expand your skills, all right? And here's what I mean by that specifically. When I got started, my job was I wanted to work from home, all right? I just wanted to not have to have a job anymore. At that time, I was a door-to-door credit card machine salesman. It was terrible, and I just didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to be able to work from home. As my business became more successful, my focus became, and my thinking became, well, I want to make $1 million. And then I started to think about, well, I want to make multiple millions of dollars per year consistently. Now, every phase of this thinking required different skills, all right? So when it was work from home, I just needed to learn the basic skills. How to write an okay sales letter, how to drive traffic to a website, cheaper than what I'm acquiring a customer for. Really simple skills. When I came here to, I want to learn how to make $1 million in a year, my skills went from writing sales copy that was pretty good to writing sales copy that was really good and learning how to generate really big buzzes and generate product launches and do all of that kind of stuff. When I went from make $1 million to make multiple millions of dollars per year consistently, had to learn an entirely new skill set. How to manage people, how to build processes, how to build systems, how to manage teams. Now, my thinking is, have a net worth of $100 million by age 50. Man, that's creeping up here pretty quick. I got to get to work. Do I have to have different skills? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. I've got to learn about investing. I got to learn about tax law, right? I have to learn how to multiply money even more. New set of skills, new set of thinking, right? Here's the thing. One of my teachers, Dan Sullivan, famously says, I think this is his quote, I learned it from him. He says, the same set of skills that got you out of Egypt will not get you to the promised land. So if you're at point A now and you want to go to point B, big part of getting from point A to point B is going to be your skills. And it's going to be the way you think. Big part of that shift for you is going to be stop thinking like an internet marketer, start thinking like a billionaire, right? So these are the steps that it takes for you to be ultimately very, very successful online. Now, as we continue our journey together, of course, I'm going to show you how to tactically implement all of this. Am I going to show you how to write better copy? Of course. Am I going to show you how to build systems that convert strangers into sales? Of course. Am I going to show you how to create campaigns that cause those new customers to continue to buy from you? Of course. Am I going to show you how to increase your prices and how to sell more frequently at a higher price to existing customers? Absolutely. Am I going to show you how to drive traffic from advertising? Yes. Am I going to show you how to generate leads? Of course. Am I going to show you how to lower your cost per lead while raising your value per lead? Happy to. That's what we do here. But none of it is really going to be nearly as effective unless you adopt these 6 principles that I just shared with you. So I really look forward to working with you and to help you grow your business. And I look forward to seeing you in our next trainings. Thanks for watching this. I'll see you later.